I'm Joe Zekas. I'm from YoChicago. I'm sitting here with Garry and Christine from Garrison Partners. So,
well, my name is Garry Benson, and I'm the founder of Garrison Partners, which is a national sales and marketing organization.
My name is Christine Lutz. I'm Senior Vice President of Garrison Partners.
Is Garrison Partners putting downward pricing pressure on its developers?
What are
you telling developers today?
You know, it depends on the goals of the developer. If they have a goal for velocity, they have to respond to what the market is telling us. And we try to give our clients the best advice that we can in order to meet those goals.
I think it's also a matter of price. I'll go back to price integrity. Some of the things that we're doing to make our product more desirable is to make it more affordable. For the last 15 years, we have had people buying homes that were almost risk interest rate oblivious. Rates have been so low that they haven't been a factor. But the reality of it is that they're starting to creep up a little bit, and that gives us the opportunity to buy down that interest rate. So you could take a $1,000 or let's say 6% interest rate would be about $6 a thousand. So for a $100,000 mortgage, you would have $600. Now, if I could buy that down to $300, that can increase your affordability. And we can do those kinds of buy downs on a program structured basis that make the home more affordable for the consumer, but doesn't undercut the value of what.
Are people going to qualify based on the lower rate or on the?
Well,
today they're going to qualify on a higher rate, which is part of it.
Well, let me also give another example. I mean, you know, the lending practices are changing every single day. But today, we have an ABA with U.S. Bank, which we're very closely involved in what kind of products that are being offered today that may not be offered tomorrow. And the challenge, obviously, with the credit markets has challenged our more affordable projects. Renaissance, for example, is one home or one deal that that the credit crunch could have affected. U.S. Bank has come up with a program where if the seller contributes 3 years worth of homeowners association fees, that the buyer can qualify for the loan without the homeowners association fees at all. So what that may end up meaning in this particular case is that they have more buying power, so that they could buy up to $25,000 more home than they would have been able to afford had they factored in the homeowners association fees. So a lot of that type of creative financing is still available. It's you got to work harder for it.
Let me focus on that issue, because I think that's one of the criticisms people have had of the market, is that creative financing in one way or another is what's disrupted price integrity.
No, fraud is what's disrupted price integrity.
Fraud too.
Fraud is what is,
fraud too. Well, that's California, that's Miami.
And
that's,
greed, and fear. I mean, I was listening to something earlier today about Greenspan's comment on the mortgage crisis. They're trying to lay it on him. And the reality of it is, he's saying that it's been based on fraud, where people, have created mortgage instruments that never should have been created, and greed just continued to feed it. Now, what that it did is it allowed people to buy homes that otherwise may not have been able to purchase homes, but there may have been a reason why they shouldn't have purchased a home.
They should not have been able to purchase that home to begin with. I mean, there's no reason.
I've sat in pitches in California just where mortgage brokers were talking to people I knew and telling them that they should be buying multiple condos in Florida to get because they could do that with no money down.
Sure.
And they could buy 3 or 4 and say they lived in them.
Absolutely.
And rent them out and make a quick pop, and then guaranteed in 2 years they'd have the $300,000 they needed for the equity in that home in Santa Barbara. Well,
it's been. I mean,
I wonder how many people bought into that.
A lot.
I mean, think about it.
Who
would have thought 5 years ago that we had a show called Flip That House? Right. Where a bunch of people that have no knowledge of the real estate industry or the housing industry, and suddenly are becoming, multi-millionaire and
real estate investors,
and real estate, gurus.
Well, we had that in the late 70s. We called them condo converters.
Well, we call when actually in the mid 70s when I started in this industry, janitors, in 36 unit apartment buildings were becoming millionaires, and it got to such a frenzy. I mean, that's a good point, Joe. One of the things that we talk about is the exuberance of the market. Right now, the Chicago market's around 6,000 units. It's been between 4 and 6, a high of I think 8.
You're really focused on the downtown market?
It's strictly the downtown market.
The downtown market.
But at the peak of the condominium conversions in the late 70s, the market was 17,000. So we're not at all to the capacity that our population.
1 year, and then it was 2,000.
The next year.
The next year.
Well, that was because interest rates went from a ceiling by law of like 6.5% to the removal of the interest law cap that took them up to 18 the next day. I used to be on the floor telling people that today is the good day because we can buy that interest rate from 18 down to 15% the first year. So
I used to be standing on the sidewalk trying to drag them into my developments and setting up sandwich boards to see if I could steer them into my models.
Well,
human signage is one of the...
It's making a big comeback.
Human signage is making a great comeback. It provides college students an opportunity to add to their income, and it provides us, a live, active person on the side of the street.